Investigative reporter Kyla Boshi's first story on EBT fraud a few weeks ago had many of you frustrated. By the way, EBT is a fancy term for food stamps. Low-income families are getting ripped off, and nobody seemed to be protecting them, even though a fix for the problem seems fairly simple. The state just needs to make those EBT cards with chips and instead of just the magnetic stripes. Well, loyal story viewer Veronica wrote into us at the time. She said, "I'm shocked that someone would have the audacity to steal SNAP benefits from the ones who need it the most, especially those with children. I think that since EBT benefits being stolen is on the rise, the state of Oregon needs to wake the hell up and get the chip cards to protect people's money and benefits." Well, since that first story, thank you, by the way, Veronica. Since that first story, Kyle has stayed on top of this issue, and he's learned the problem might even be bigger than imagined, and it still requires an urgent response.
Life is a juggling act for Lisa Jones. She's a single mother with 3 young kids who works 2 part-time jobs and takes classes at PCC.
Yeah, I work my butt off every day. Like, there's never a dull moment.
Well, a few weeks ago, Lisa's world got even more complicated when the Portland woman tried to buy some groceries and her Oregon Trail card was rejected. When she logged into her account, Lisa found the bulk of her monthly food stamps or SNAP benefits was gone.
It was just nauseous, just like really sick to my stomach.
A closer look revealed someone had used Lisa's account at a Walmart store in Wiggins, Mississippi. At 7:08 a.m. on January 19th, someone made a $498 purchase using her stolen SNAP benefits. When she reported the theft to Oregon DHS, a worker told her there was nothing they could do. Right now, the state doesn't refund stolen SNAP benefits.
We rely on those food benefits to eat. That's a huge impact on our family.
My money was gone, and I didn't understand what was going on.
Since our initial report on EBT fraud,
I'm like, this can't be. I know there is money in there.
We've heard from numerous people in Oregon who've had their SNAP benefits wiped out. Oregon DHS estimates last year there were at least 55 complaints about EBT card skimming, but suspects the actual number of occurrences of this type of fraud is likely higher. And a security expert warns it's going to get a lot worse.
It is about to take off like a rocket ship.
Haywood Talcove of LexisNexis Risk Solutions Government Group figures food stamp fraud in Oregon could result in huge losses. He warns nationally reports of scammers ripping off SNAP benefits is through the roof. And the security expert points to recent chatter on the dark web, like this clip, which purportedly shows criminals bragging in a how-to video. Crooks often skim EBT cards and PIN numbers by secretly installing a device on ATM readers, then create fake cards and drain accounts.
What the fraudsters have figured out, what the criminals have figured out, is that they don't get caught, and government never runs out of money. They just print more.
The security expert warns EBT fraud has many of the same characteristics as unemployment fraud, which cost the government billions of dollars in losses during the pandemic. Criminals took advantage of old, outdated systems.
The same players, same organized criminal groups are now attacking the food stamp program.
Congress is reacting to the problem. In December, lawmakers approved a spending bill that allows SNAP recipients to be reimbursed for stolen benefits. Problem is, Oregon, like most states, hasn't implemented the changes yet. And frankly, it doesn't fix the problem.
That's great after the fact. That's a great afterthought. You're going to now put all this money back on my card. But in the moment, where am I going to get that $500 from? I guess it's going to, I don't know, is it going to come out of my PG&E bill for the month? Is it going to come out of gas for my car? Medications for my children or myself?
Congress also told the USDA to provide guidance to states on adding fraud protection. Currently, EBT recipients don't have the same security technology as everybody else using the banking system. Those suspicious out-of-state purchases seem to go unnoticed, and EBT cards don't have a chip to avoid skimming. They just have the old magnetic stripe, making them ripe for fraud.
This is millions and millions and millions of dollars nationwide of our taxpayers' money that is getting taken. And you can't pay for a little chip card?
Advocates applaud Congress. And look, the changes are good, but they've got to happen quickly. Low-income families are literally being robbed of their food money as we speak.
States should be moving on this now, today, like last year. Like that cannot be stated strongly enough.
Victoria Negus is with the Massachusetts Law Reform Institute. The nonprofit filed a class action lawsuit in that state on behalf of EBT recipients who had benefits stolen. Because for most victims, like Lisa, there is no recourse. The food stamp benefits are gone. They could be stolen again, and families need to eat.
I'm losing sleep over it. It's making me nauseous. I'm not able to focus on my stuff. I'm a student. I'm a part-time student. I work part-time, and I'm a mom of 3, And it's just kept me really distracted and keeps me up at night, worried sick.
Kyle joins me now. It's so frustrating to hear about this. How does that first woman, how'd she put food on her table?
Yeah, and we talk about real world consequences. This is an example of it. I mean, she explained how it may mean the difference between putting gas in the car or getting meds for the kids. They don't have the money because of the fact that fraudsters have wiped out the SNAP benefits.
Yeah, and they obviously need it. They qualified or they wouldn't be getting it. What's DHS going to do about this, and more importantly, when?
Yeah, that is a good question. And it certainly appears that Oregon DHS is basically waiting for the feds or USDA for guidance. In fact, I got an email today from a spokesperson from DHS who said, "We are committed to doing everything we can to protect people with EBT cards from fraud and are researching and analyzing this issue, including consulting with our partners at the USDA to urgently identify new strategies we can use to protect EBT card holders in Oregon from card skimming fraud." But as we pointed out in this story, I mean, that needs to happen yesterday.
Absolutely. That's exactly the word I was going to say. Come on, quit studying, let's go. How widespread is this?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We've just been hearing about this in the past few months. Other states, this has been going on for about 6 months, and the numbers elsewhere, it's truly staggering. Oregon DHS says, listen, we don't actually track this type of EBT skimming fraud. They're going to now, after some of our reporting. The thing that really concerns me here, Pat, is the number of people that are vulnerable. So Oregon, roughly 700,000 people rely on food stamp or SNAP benefits. That's 1 in 6 Oregonians. Wow. And you think about that, if the fraudsters continue to do this at a greater rate, there could be a lot of people that may not have food on the table. And you also think as taxpayers, if this money isn't going to those who truly need it, it's going elsewhere. That's not a good use of our money.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing this to us, Kyle, and I'm sure you'll stay on top of it.